What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. We've got Anthony Vincent from 10 Second Songs here. We've got Derek Blackman as well from YouTube. You know him as Some Black Guy on YouTube. And we've got the dudes in Hoobastank here, a very special treat. One of my favorite records of all time we're going to talk about here. And very excited to have Doug and Dan here. Now, they have a very cool docuseries that's coming out to talk about, it's been 21 years now since the debut self-titled release. And they were filming a lot during that time. And they're going to be releasing a documentary series from back in that period of time. That when you're in a band that's just blowing up and everything's going crazy, it's just really a fascinating time to see how all of that played out, and a record that really has stood the test of time. And, you just go back. I've been listening to this record, all through the weekend, just getting pumped up about talking to you guys. I've listened to this record probably hundreds of times, to be honest with you. And so it's so great to have you guys here, talk about this album, talk about this series. And yeah, I mean, how did you guys know back then, like, hey, maybe we should be filming a lot of this shit?
Dude, we filmed everything at that point.
We started filming stuff just to film stuff like in when did we do Naked Jockman, Doug? Was that 1994? Like
94.
Like ended 94?
It was a commit. It definitely was a commitment. It wasn't like today where like, hey, everybody film this, Like we had like the old VHS shoulder mounted, missile launcher to start it off. And then by the time we got to recording that record, we had graduated to like the 8mm or what are those?
Yeah, the 8mm.
Just the smaller version,
handheld,
the smaller version,
handheld, like little.
But they still look like bazookas, Yeah,
the early 2000s version.
Yeah,
I know exactly. What kind of
yeah. So, and Dan, we were around a lot of other bands, and that's a time that it was a time where everything wasn't documented. Like today, everything is documented. It's not my kids see so much of their lives compared to, us. So I think it was more like, dude, this is kind of a big deal. We should really keep track of this. And yeah, I don't ever remember us going, Dan, hey, we got to document everything. But it was just kind of like a fun thing to do. And we had the cameras, and it seemed like a big deal at the time.
Is this footage that you got digitized back then? Did you do something with the footage back then, or did you digitize it now? Like, what was the process of that? Was it kind of?
Dan's been digitizing this thing forever.
Well,
seriously,
what
forever.
happened was let me backtrack a little bit. So like in 95 or something like that, I got the VHS, like literally pull the VHS out of the camera. We just had no money back then. We weren't signed or anything like that. It was a gift from my parents. They had the smaller cameras at that point, but I didn't want that shit. I wanted the one that you literally just pull the tape out, put it in the VCR and watch it. Once we got a record deal, Doug, I think in like 2000, then you bought a camera. I remember we got some money a little bit, got in advance. You bought a camera, but we were always interested in filming stuff. I was always interested in it. And then we were making little funny, stupid skit videos, but there was no way to edit. We didn't have any editing software. So it was like literally it would be Doug hitting record, and we'd act out a scene and then hit pause, and we'd shift to the next angle. He would have.
Yeah, it was shot to shot.
And we got some really cool shit. But what was that? What was the follow-up question? I'm sorry.
Just like, how did you know, like, hey, we should be filming all of this stuff and we should be capturing it?
Well, we didn't know. It was just something that I think that we were interested in doing. I always was a fan personally of that rockumentary type of footage stuff, to see the behind the scenes shit. One of my favorite movies of all time is the making of the Chili Peppers Blood Sugar Sex Magic record, and they made a movie called Funky Monks, and it's just it's in the studio and in the house with them making the record, and I just thought that was so cool. I always thought that was so cool. So yeah, I've just known forever that this is what I wanted to do.
In real time, I don't think we were like, dude, we need to get footage because we're making a documentary. It wasn't that at all. It was just to have it for ourselves. So it wasn't like us going, okay, we need a shot of you doing this. It's home movie type
that
shit,
was, Yeah.
Like it wasn't shot, like the shots weren't planned out. There wasn't like, we need this content XYZ. It was totally just home movie style, just to have the memories, really.
And that's really ahead of its time too. There were a few videos that I grew up watching, like Metallica, A Year and a Half of the Life. I always loved watching that stuff, and then also the Pantera videos too, like all the backstage antics and stuff. The fact that you guys were doing that, and now that you have that footage. I mean, anyone who was doing that then, which were very very few. I'm sure there were a lot of people. I mean, I go back. I have vacation footage and stuff. I didn't have any way of putting it out. They should be doing stuff like this. And it's great that you guys have so much. How much footage do you have? Like, countless. I'm sure you have countless tapes.
Actually, that word "countless" is on the episode 1 of the introduction. It's like, yeah, we shot we the band members and friends of ours shot countless hours of footage starting from 1995 as we were walking into our original bass player's house before we had Chris, our drummer, right now. Like, we filmed that, I remember. Yeah, just tons and tons of hours, whether it's from before the first record, during the first record, after the first record, during the reason, just all this shit. Yeah, and over COVID, like 2020, right at the beginning of the lockdown, when no one knew what was going on, and we just knew that we were locked in our houses for a month or whatever. That's when I started doing the digitizing, and it was literally so tedious. And because you have to do it in real time, and each tape is about 2 hours long, an hour to 2 hours long. So I'd be in my studio, and I would be transferring it. I'd go run and eat some food, do some shit, whatever it was. It'd be done, run back down, and literally just over and over and over again. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. to pee. I'd run down to my studio, pop in a new tape while I was just getting it done while I was asleep. Anytime I'd wake up, I was doing it, because there's
Wow.
tons and tons and tons of content, like hours upon hours upon hours. It's just ridiculous.
How did you guys initially get signed? What was that process like for you guys? I'm sure it's a lot different then than it is now today.
Dude, I don't even know how you get signed today, but
TikTok.
You have to have a viral moment, Doug.
right, yeah,
Yes, it's true.
yeah. All right. We did it, quote unquote, the old fashioned way, I guess. Like he said, Dan and I were in a band in high school, or right out of high school, and when we wanted to find other members, we had to put out ads in the recycler and the local paper and stuff like that. Like drummer wanted, bass player wanted, that kind of stuff. Go to their houses, that kind of thing, and rehearsals were at every band member's house at some point, or parents' house is a better description, in tiny little rooms and garages and whatever, anywhere they could let us play, make noise. I think we probably wrote music and rehearsed for about 6 or 7 months. And then we started playing shows. And the first one, quote unquote, show was in my parents' backyard, but it was a legit deal. We had at a stage, and we even had, we hired private security so it wouldn't get out of control. And it was basically like a block party, but we would play anywhere they'd let us, dude, from like cafes to teen centers to opening for whoever, wherever. This was like starting in 95, the summer of 95. And between the summer of 95 and late 99, we played everywhere in, every club in Hollywood. And I think we went as far as Arizona, down to San Diego and stuff like that. Every couple of weeks we'd promote our shows with an actual mailing list we had compiled from shows, with physical letters that flyers that we'd send out. We would flyer all the local high schools, every time we played. It was just really, like guerrilla stuff. We vandalization almost with signs on all the congested choke points, like where stop signs. There'd always be every couple of weeks there'd be our show sign up there, like handmade. And then we shopped our music around, probably in around 98, 99. In 99, we had a manager, and we had a demo deal. I forget who it was with. One of the record companies gave us money to record some new songs to kind of see what direction we're going and stuff like that. So we went in and we recorded some new music. And I remember thinking, like, dude, this is fucking so. It's a foregone conclusion. We're in. We had some friends that had signed deals, and we thought, like, oh, it was just kind of our turn. Um, and we recorded some songs. They were interesting, and got turned down by the people who gave us the money. But then we were allowed to shop it from them, and everybody turned us down. And I remember in '99 going, fuck, like, what do you do? We just spent the last 5 years basically building up to this moment, and nothing happened. We got rejected, and it seemed at the time like, well, how do you convince these people with the same band and the same everything, like, to say yes after they've already said no, especially in this kind of business where they're always looking for something new. And if they've already said no, they want, give me something else, like, I remember at the time we fired our manager, who, it wasn't his fault for anything. We just decided to kind of take control again of our band. We stopped shopping the music, and we kind of, I remember at least making a conscious effort to go, let's just do this for fun, the way we have been. The reason why we had, at least in originally, let's play shows and let the chips fall where they may, and let's forget about the whole business aspect of it. And then I think less than a year later, we had a few offers, like just the opposite. We stopped shopping, and we had enough relationships in the industry and stuff like that, that obviously helped. But it was kind of funny when we just said, fuck it, let's just do our thing. And then I think in August of 2000 is when we started getting a few offers.
Isn't that how it always happens, though? It's when you really stop trying. You're still working hard. You're still persevering. But once you stop kind of going, I want this, I need this, I'm working towards this, and you're like, let me just be the best I can. And it seems like that's when things really kind of materialize.
Yeah, look, I use that as an example with my kids all the time. I tell them, like, don't worry about the result. It's the process. Just enjoy what you're doing, and then whatever happens, great. That's not why you do it. You do it for the process. And yeah, I mean, that's where my headspace was. I'm sure the other guys have similar stories, but obviously different perspectives of how it went down. But I kind of remember me personally going, fuck the business, fuck all this stuff. Let's just play some music and write some cool music and perform and see what happens.
That works. And now, how long have you and Dan known each other? You guys go way back.
Yeah, high school.
Yeah, your sophomore year or my sophomore year?
My sophomore year, yeah, I started at Agora High School late. I started it in 10th grade as opposed to ninth, and then I came across Doug there.
And so once you guys kind of link up, and this is kind of just going into the future now, but you've known each other for so long and you've worked together for so long consistently, that alone is a monumental achievement. What do you think the secret is? Because you can look at different bands, and there's bands that have had 50 previous members, and there's all sorts of problems and stuff. And then there's bands like you guys that have just been so stable for so long. And I tend to see that tends to be your more reasonable people, more pragmatic people, and things like that. What do you think the secret is that you guys have just been so successful for so long and been able to work together for so long?
So successful, man. So successful.
I think so. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's one secret, like, hey, the secret is, I think we've been able to check our egos enough when we've needed to, I think he and I have very different yet complementing personalities. I'm a much more rational person. He's a much more passionate, emotional person. And so there's kind of like a yin and yang balance as
Yeah.
far as like how the ship is run, you know? Um, yeah, I just think also it's kind of like what we're talking about with getting signed and stuff like that. It's still just the process, you know? Is it fun to write music? Yeah, it's different. Sometimes it fucking sucks, you know? Sometimes it's like doing
Yeah.
homework. But but when it clicks, it's still the same feeling. I get still that exciting feeling, and it's not because we're in front of an arena of people. I'm literally sitting in my in my home studio, and that feeling still happens. Well, if we're rehearsing and something clicks, it's still fun. You know, it's still fun to do that. Um, and I've said this a bunch of times, like when people have asked, like, well, what are some of the greatest memories you have in this band? And I think the cliche answers or what they're expecting to hear is like, oh, when we did X, Y, Z, these very like typical accomplishments, whether it's awards or these huge shows or anything that has to do with like fame and fortune. But I usually go back to kind of the shit we were talking about prior, like forming the band and playing in our rooms and the first show we did and these little moments that that aren't big, you know, these like fun, these stupid videos we made, you know, and all these little dumb adventures we had. That's kind of what that's what I'll remember, you know, when I'm on my deathbed. I'm not going to be going like, oh, remember that stadium we did in Japan? You know, it's cool, but it's not what, that's not what keeps me going. Hey, dude, I got to go to rehearsal today, like because I want to play that stadium again. No, it's because I want to hang out with my friends and I want to fuck around and joke around and play some music and call it a job. You know, that's ridiculously lucky. You know, what else would I want to do?
Right.
It's perspective. I
No,
think that's I think at the end of at the end of the day, that's I think what has helped at least me and the band enough that we've been able to keep our perspective of like, dude, yes, you know, at one point we were this big and we may be this big now, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But look what we're doing. We're just in a room playing music, laughing, and this is it. This is, you know, while somebody's stuck on the freeway in traffic going to work. I think that's helped a lot.
And I think too that, you know, your music, you know, this record has, I don't know if it resonates with you, but you know, this is a record that has obviously stood the test of time and has helped a lot of people and means so much to a lot of people. And so when you went back and looked at that footage, sometimes, you know, people, you go back and you look into the past and you examine the past, and that can be a difficult experience. It's not all, it's like, oh, damn, like, you know, why did I do that or something? When you go back and look at the footage, was there ever a point where you felt maybe like you could see a change in yourselves in the band? Like maybe you're really feeling yourself after that record deal comes in. Was there any of that, like kind of revelations that you made going through that footage?
I've seen the footage a ton. Doug doesn't watch the footage.
I've never been
I feel
I've
that.
never been that dude. Every once in a while it's the same. I always get the same feeling. I've always had the same feeling as when you look at like a really bad old picture of you or something like that. That's kind of embarrassing or whatever. I don't really care so much anymore. But I'm also not that curious. I like it for nostalgic reasons. Like, oh my God, look at how I remember that, or I don't even remember that at all. That's crazy that even happened, because if I didn't see the video, I literally it didn't happen. Um, I don't know if at the time, like Dan said, he's the one who digitized and has kind of like, he's like the archivist here, who keeps all that kind of stuff. I don't, so I can't tell you if I see it when I see it, but I do remember feeling pretty awesome about it, going, oh shit, we got a record deal. You know, there's a little pep in your step and all that kind of stuff. I definitely have seen some of it and gone, oh, we were so young and so naive. In some ways, it's a beautiful thing. In some ways, it's a painfully cringeworthy thing to look at. You know, like, oh, I can't believe I fucking said that. You know, like how dumb is that? And I can't believe I held that type of attitude at that moment, you know. As we're older, I get it. I go, look, dude, I was only 26 years old, 25 years
Right.
old. So it's a little bit of combination of seeing it and missing that youthful naivety, you know, but also going, God, you were stupid.
I know that feeling because I feel the same way about some of the videos I put out just a few years ago. I can't watch them at all, so I
Yeah.
get it completely. You know,
I think everyone who goes through a creative process, I think, resonates with that entirely. But you guys should be commended because it's brave to put real shit out there. And it doesn't get much more real than basically home videos.
and I think it's not to cut you off, Brian.
No, go ahead.
But I think that it's also very important that people, if you can somehow get people to connect to the sentiment that you just shared about being with your friends, starting up a band, that's something that I feel like in this day and age we're all very removed from, because we're not really in a band time right now. Like, I mean, like there are a lot of bands out there, don't get me wrong, but this is not 1995 anymore. I mean, the live music scene has changed, especially over the past just 3 years alone because of the pandemic, and people are still recovering from that. And the way things are done. I mean, even me, I'm a full-time musician, but I don't hit the road once, you know, all year. Everything's on the internet, and I don't really even have an official band. It's all YouTube channel stuff, TikToks. This is what kids want to be, YouTubers and TikTokers, you know. And I personally, I thrive. But one of the things that I'm doing now as a musician in the year 2022 is like, I want to connect to when I was a kid, you know, forming bands and playing high school battle of the bands. I know that because I was on the tail end of that, but you guys got to really, you know, I can't imagine what the crowds were like in the 90s, you know, and just the scene, just to be a part of that scene, you know, wherever you know, whether it was in the West Coast or the East Coast. To get a glimpse of that past, I think is going to be very inspirational, and even for me to see, to be honest, and especially for a younger generation that could just say, you know what, I want to pick up an instrument and just play. You know, I think very important.
It's a front row seat to. No, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say the footage, you know, the way I look at it is very similar to how Doug said he looks at it, but that's maybe how I used to look at it. It used to be like, oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Listen to what I said there, or listen to whatever, you know. I still feel that way when I see some of that, but I've tried to almost like grow from it or learn from it and take a look at myself, because there's plenty of moments in there that I'm speaking to somebody in a certain way that I didn't realize at the time I was doing it, but I see it now at my age now, and I'm like, fuck, okay. That right there is maybe what I was doing that was pushing people or something like that. And, or I just didn't like my tone or whatever it was. So I try to look at it in a way where, because I still could do that shit today. I can always revert back to that guy as much as I'm trying to move forward and learn from it and grow. So I could take it as like, oh, I can't watch this and just turn it off. But I've chosen to watch it a little bit. And same with old interviews of us that we didn't even have any control over that I see on YouTube. The things that I get those douche chills about, I tend to try to watch because I just want to learn from it, you know? Like, Doug, there's moments in this thing that there's one moment that and it's in the docuseries too. We're talking about crawling in the dark, and it's how you're singing it. And it's I will dedicate and sacrifice it's the first line. And it's me getting on you. Like, it doesn't flow, dude. It just doesn't flow, the blah, 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 blah. And you're kind of looking at me like, and then Jim pops in and he starts singing it. And I don't really remember that moment happening at the time. I just remember maybe getting stuck in my own head and getting on you at that moment, you know, and seeing how it must have been for Doug to deal with Dan back then. You know, I can see it clearer now by watching that shit and go, fuck, okay, maybe we needed to go through all that to get to where we got to, but at the same time, I don't want to be that guy, and I don't want to talk to people like that.
you guys didn't realize that this documentary is really just a self-help like videos for us.
It's like some kind of monster.
It's all therapy. Also, yeah, we just watch it and we go, God, we want to fucking change.
But dude, there's a scene.
I love that though.
There's a scene that made me feel pretty awkward and uncomfortable watching it now this many years later. And it's not going in this this series, because it was it was when we were recording either The Reason or Every Man for Himself, but we're in the studio. And at that point, you got to understand that, yeah, Doug and I have been friends since we were 15, 16 years old. And we're super tight, but yeah, I'm sure I've gotten on his nerves like quite a bit, and whatever it is, and vice versa. And so we're in the fucking studio, and I'm playing guitar, trying to come up with the guitar part. And Doug is sitting right next to me as I'm trying to record it, and you're touching the neck of my guitar, like, no, what did you do? Blah, blah, do this. And you could see I'm getting fucking annoyed. And and it's funny to talk about it right now, but at the same time, watching what I did was like, oh my God, dude, like, you're grabbing the neck of my guitar. Like, well, what if you do this? And for me, it's very distracting and hard because I'm trying to focus, and now I'm overwhelmed because I got somebody else throwing like numbers at me now while I'm trying to count.
That was probably my equivalent of like, dude, doesn't flow.
Right.
Doesn't
right.
flow.
But as I'm playing, you're like grabbing the neck of the guitar, and I was just being a dick. And I remember, I mean, the video shows me, I put my hand on your throat and I say, how the fuck would you like it if I came in while you were singing and started putting my hands all over your neck?
Dude. So you went and grabbed him by the neck.
I don't even remember
I did that. I wasn't. It was in a sarcastic, funny way, kind of hamming it up for the camera.
It's a repressed memory. You have to shove it in your subconscious.
You definitely.
Right now, I'm gonna start crying.
We definitely were not. Fuck you. Not. It wasn't like that at all. It was more.
No, I understand the sarcasm, and you're trying to make a point, but I don't even remember that.
But even if you go back to. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't remember it until I came across it. Like I said, there's hundreds of hours of footage, and I saw it, and I was like, as I laughed my ass off, but at the same time, it was a very cringe moment for me to go like, you fucking dipshit, like that was my energy quite a bit. I felt like, and I'm not saying it's different now. I don't know if it is or not, but
that's gonna be the like the subtitle of the docuseries, whatever.
But
like, Hoobastank's 20th anniversary. See who we wish we weren't. Like
we're learning from our past mistakes.
Yes, boy, were we dicks.
Everybody feels that though, and that is so relatable. And I also.
Well, I'm glad that I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's more common, but I kind of feel like, dude, I'm kind of glad that we're at least at a place in our lives where we can see it and are self-aware and not being like, we're still not there. I'm glad that we're in a different spot.
You're far more self-aware than other bands,
dude.
Far more.
Yeah, you know how many people would not be talking about this stuff. You just be talking about how. Like there's some bands that would just come on here and say this is a piece of history and we're very proud of it. I mean, like I'm sure you're very proud of it, but it'd be very like the fact that you're going in on like some old character defects that you like pick up on the past.
Well, ironically, that's what we see. You asked, but that's what we see when we see the videos. A lot of it, like I said, it's like, yeah, that's cool, and that's a cool moment. But yeah, I think it's equal parts like, like why did I do that? Or why did yeah, exactly. Why was my attitude like this? Like, God, I was so if I only had known better,
Right.
But you needed to live to know better. That's the whole thing.
No, yeah, you have.
When you saw some footage, did you like there's you said you had hundreds of hours. Were there specific things you saw that as soon as you saw it, you're like, this cannot, nobody can do this. Like this is like I just have to like nuke this out of existence.
Anybody who has a repository of footage is gonna have that.
I would say if there's 1,000 hours,
yeah,
700 hours are not usable.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah.
So what happened?
Anybody with video.
This is exactly what happened. So I basically had this computer that was transferring all these tapes, right? And then I had to give every single video that I wanted for this docuseries over to the guys making the video. So it was a real pain in the ass. What I had to do at that point was I had to then upload all those videos into my own iMovie and edit them.
Oh my gosh.
And edit each one for offensive shit because we're in 2022 today, and the stuff that was in there was from 2000, was from like 1990 something. And I could sneeze the wrong way and be canceled, I'm sure. So I made sure I cut everything out that was necessary to cut out. So really, yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad, but there are tone wise or certain things that I don't know how to say it, but like, yeah, I'm not saying it was right to say certain things back then the way that people
No.
did, but if the tone was that way in the world, we might have been speaking a certain way that is not appropriate now. And I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings
Right.
because
Sure.
it's not our business. Our business is to make people happy. So I edited
Right.
some of it out.
I mean, but also it's like for me, like as a video person that has filmed tons of video content, like back when those like camcorders and stuff first came out, I had them, and you're almost like now when there's a camera everywhere at every time, you might be less inclined to use it. But like when I have a film oriented camera and like my buddy's taking a dump, like, yeah, I'm going to say, dude, what are you fucking doing, bro? You're smile for the camera. So
dude, I went one step beyond that. I took a waterproof GoPro, put it in the toilet and took a shit on it. Like
yes, dude.
I had to.
Is that going to be that wasn't during that recording, but are we going to use that
Gotta
for
be the
anything at any
documentary.
point?
It's just so bad.
That was on the road.
Was on tour. So
That's
yeah,
so much fun.
That's
stuff like just dumb shit. When we were first starting out, Jackass, the television show, and the CKY stuff wasn't out yet, and so we got a lot of like comparisons to that. A lot of our friends and peers were saying, once the Jackass stuff came out, they're like, dude, you guys were doing this before Jackass. We never,
Yes,
yeah,
we didn't go as hard as those guys by any means, but a lot of the footage, it was just funny for us to make up these skits and
shock value, dude. It was pure shock value. Yeah,
streaking places, friends of ours streaking through public, soccer games at the high school, just dumb shit.
Do guys in other bands go like, hey, dude, I hope you're not fucking putting me in your documentary because of a streaking down the street?
No, but one day.
I don't think we have any incriminating videos of other bands, do we?
We don't have incriminating.
I mean, you would if you would.
Yeah,
know.
we don't have any. The only incriminating video that we have of other bands is just from back in that day in like 1995, before any of our bands had record deals and what we all looked like at that time, running around your parents' backyard. Aside from that, but not really. Yeah, But I got some cool footage, some old stuff. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's not bad.
Switching in, because this is so fascinating to me, and I love it's such a brilliant idea. I wish more bands would do this. I liken this to, and you guys are a million times more functional when you compare to this time period, but like the documentary Some Kind of Monster with Metallica, I thought they were so brave to put that out because they showed themselves in a very vulnerable space where they weren't getting along, and Lars is getting in James's face, and it's this whole thing. And then it really shows how the record that came out of it, Saint Anger, maybe it's a controversial record, but at the end of the day, they put a record out and they didn't break up, and they were not functional at that time. But I just think it's cool that no matter what is going on, bands show. I think you can't connect to people if you're not authentic, and you guys come across as very authentic. And so when you're making this record, how does that process start? You started writing these songs after the record deal, or were some of these songs kind of already written before then?
I would say about a third were written already. A third were already on kind of like a new demo we had,
right.
That I think we recorded in '99. But then, yeah, once we got a record deal, we started writing more.
What?
And I know, Crawling in the Dark. We went into pre-production on the record at a studio. I think it was like 2 weeks long or something like that with the producer. Hammering the songs out, kind of chiseling away, getting it to each one to where we thought it was ready to go. And then I think with just a couple days left in pre-production, Dan had come in with an idea with a riff, and it was the Crawling in the Dark guitar riff and kind of the whole model.
That's a legendary
song.
Riff, dude. That is just such a sick riff.
Thank you.
Sick, bro. It's like anything else, I feel like there's this theme running through this whole podcast here. I heard it and I immediately heard something. Like I heard a melody right away, and I said, "Okay, let's do this," and I think overnight, literally, the song was written. Like I took it home, I did some things, and it was pretty much done. Like the chorus melodies, and it was all done overnight, and or within a couple days. So it was literally like the 11th hour song that came in, and it ended up being, obviously the first single and probably our second most successful single ever. But I do notice with a couple of songs that we've had success with, they've been kind of like that. You don't have to sit around and like overanalyze lyrics or overanalyze guitar parts, whatever. It just kind of falls into place, and it's that thing. Like just don't think about what kind of song you want to make. Don't think about getting the record deal. Don't think about the end. Just enjoy what you're doing while it's happening. And so, dude, I know we collectively, but I've sit around and dissected lyrics and melodies to songs until I don't want to hear it anymore. Like it's just, and I go, well, if I've done it for this long, if I've been going back to this one song for 6 months and I've made seven changes to each thing and all these words, it probably sucks. It's too much. And I'm overanalyzing and I'm thinking about the finished product. And is this going to be happen? Is this going to work? And I feel like all the songs that we've had any success with just kind of happen, like boom, there, this is what I'm feeling in the moment. This is what I'm hearing. Everybody kind of goes, yeah, that's good, and stays out of each other's hair. I'm not like metaphorically putting my fingers on Dan's fretboard, going like, hey dude, play this. Like, and Crawling in the Dark was like the beginning of that, is what I felt like. Holy shit. Like we could just kind of let it come out of us. That was, I know the original question was the writing process though.
Dan, when you wrote that riff on this writing process, like, did you know, like, damn, like I just wrote something crazy? Like, were you immediately knew that this could be very big?
No, I didn't. I don't remember exactly writing the riff or how it came about. But I do remember at that time, recording it onto my home phone, my home answering machine, because I didn't even have a cell phone at that point. I don't think that we had cell phones. It was just the thing I played, just the intro, whatever that riff is.
Right.
And like a lot of other ideas that I had, they would just live on my phone, like they still do today. It's like, that's just, there's just, I don't know if you can see, but it's just ideas after ideas after just tons,
Yeah.
And, but there was something about if you're just playing just the single note, dun, 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 whatever the root notes that I'm playing, I just liked how it felt. It was there for a while. I had to go back to the studio one night because I wanted to mess with my guitar amp. And in doing so, I was by myself and kind of started playing around with it a little bit more and came up with the next part, which was when the whole band comes in. There was a third part to it, right, Doug? There was a part to the song, which was, in my eyes, before your vocals were on it, when I wrote the music, which is not even in the song anymore. I think it was a chorus that you had said, let's just take that piece of music out. Something like, I don't know exactly how it happened, but that did happen. And there is a demo of it somewhere that I cannot find. I've looked everywhere and I don't know, but I have a ton of shit here. So
that has the other piece.
Yeah, I recorded it on the 4-track or on that Roland that we had with drums and bass, and I demoed it all out, brought it to you guys, played it. And like you said, it just happened quick, man. Like we were at that pre-production studio without the producer that one day, and you sat in the control room behind the glass while me, Marku, and Chris sat in the live room, and you kind of just guided us, like we the parts were there. I had already demoed it. They were just learning it for the first time. We were 2 days.
Right. And I I remember going, I had the arrangement
Yes.
idea. Okay, now cut this part out, and then this is how the vocals are going to go, and blah, 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 and kind of
I remember you kind of
conducted it
explaining
through.
like, okay, so I have a verse melody idea, and it's gonna be an octave, and here's the register of my verse melody. But when we get to the chorus, I'm gonna sing that same melody, but an octave higher, or an
Mhm.
inversion of it, an octave higher. And I just remember these
Right.
conversations happening through the window, and kind of trying to follow along. I knew all the parts to it, was trying to get on board with where your head was at, which we quickly did. And 2, 3 days later is when we entered into the real studio to start recording the album and doing the drums for that song. So brand new to us.
It was the first song. Not only was it the freshest song. Obviously, it was a couple days old, but it was the first one we actually started tracking.
Because I think everybody was so excited about it and could feel that it had something special.
Right. And you know
So
what?
there was a sense.
And in hindsight, yes. And in hindsight, I couldn't tell how much the excitement was, dude, this song is really good, or there was always an innate amount of excitement for any new song, period. Even if it fucking sucked, there was still some excitement to it, So I can't tell how much was like, dude, this is a new song. Plus, we got a record. We're finally making a record on a major label. So there was a lot of ingredients that
Good energy
that made that moment, kind of special. So I'm not sure exactly how much was any confidence in the song itself. I just really liked it a lot. It felt really good, and it was fresh.
Doug, it was also one of those songs too that, so in the footage that I watch, it shows us playing it like for the first time in the studio, whatever, kind of jamming on it.
Wow.
And it just sounded good live. Your vocals sounded great. It didn't need the harmonies. You know what I'm saying? Like the song ended up with some harmonies and shit like that. But I felt like,
but it's not covered in it.
No, and I felt like that the song, even when we're just kind of playing it, like Jim, the producer's like, all right, let's do Crawling in the Dark, and you hear it sticking around, and you're warming up your vocal, I will dedicate, whatever, and I'm doing the thing, and then boom, we go into it, dude, and we're just playing it. And yeah, we're not playing to a click track, so we're a little like this.
That's what makes it special.
But your vocal, dude, and we were just playing it live, and I'm going like, this. It's just not to sound like an arrogant dick, but it's just a really good song, and it felt like a really good song without how we later dressed it up, because we didn't know how we were going to dress it up.
Yeah, later. without all the production. Yeah,
it stood alone.
You guys are, with this album, I remember when I first heard it, it was kind of like my first inclination was like, this is like a mixture of 311, Incubus, Linkin Park, and like 10 other bands all put together in the best aspects of each of their band. You guys have such a unique sound. And so many times these days you have bands that might sound very similar to one other band or two other bands or things like that. But you guys really, throughout your discography, have never been kind of confined to one different sound. And on this record, I wonder, kind of what your inspirations were growing up, and if any of that was reflected on this record. What did you guys, when you were coming up through the label process, what were you listening to that you were like, oh shit, I love this band?
Are you talking before we got signed, like growing up?
Yeah, what were your biggest influences?
Go ahead, Doug.
Well, I mean, for this, I would say you can go way back. I was a huge, David Lee Roth, Van Halen fan when I was like in middle school, but that didn't influence me when I was in my 20s, I think my influences leading up to that album were a lot of the, I hate to use the word like the Seattle bands, but it's just what it is. I was a big Soundgarden fan. I was a big Nirvana fan and Alice in Chains, and then Dan and I Dan especially, we loved 311. 311 was a big band, for us in the mid 90s, and my favorite band was Faith No More.
Hell yeah,
and,
dude.
And Mr. Bungle, and it wasn't the music itself was awesome. I was huge. Mike Patton, still am a huge Mike Patton fan. But it was also that attitude to me that influenced me. That's kind of strange to say. Musically, I loved heavy shit. I was always like, when Dan and I combined, he brought early on like kind of the funk and more pop sensibilities, unless you see otherwise, and I just liked heavy shit. To be honest with you, I just liked heavy stuff. And so after 5 years of that, we got to where we're doing that record. But I think aside from musically, I think attitude wise, I was influenced by the area we grown up. We grew up in LA and in the suburbs of LA. They're nice suburbs and a lot of skateboarding and a lot of surfing. We're not too far from the beach. There's that kind of like chill, laid back attitude, and but along with that, there's that kind of contrarian skater culture, which I thought bands like Faith No More absolutely embodied. That like you can't pin us to one sound. We are going to purposely do things to fuck with people, and like, we're going to purposely do things to not be popular. It sounds counterintuitive, but that was always really appealing to me. So even if it didn't come out in the songs, I felt it, and I felt it in what we did and how we performed and how I did interviews. Like I felt that kind of like, that urge to always go against a little bit and to kind of throw a little bit of a curveball. Like I said, even if it never showed, like some people would hear me say that and go, Hoobastank is that band? Fuck you, dude. They're the most, like they're a process, blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all. It's fine. But at the time I would like to think that was just as much an influence on how we made the music, or at least I made the music, or my approach to the music was the bands themselves we actually listened to. It was that kind of attitude, like to kind of just go left when everybody wants to go right.
Derek,
I mean?
what am I missing here? What have I not asked?
I mean, well, I'm not missing much at all, but I just like what you were saying about the contrarian attitude, because I've always thought about that with the name itself, Hoobastank, where I was thinking just having that, excuse me, just got over getting sick. Got really sick. But just having that name, I was wondering, did maybe record labels possibly not want to warm to you because they just didn't even understand the name itself or something like that? Like hearing something like that was just like, I don't even know what is this? Immediately, you know how people are when they first hear something, it kind of is like judging a book, just by its cover. And I don't know if you guys ran into problems like that. And one other thing I wanted to clarify, I might be doing a Mandela effect, but I feel like I remember listening to an interview you guys were doing with K-Rock, like when I don't know, maybe it was 2001, 2002, whatever, sometime on a Weenie Roast thing. And they asked you about the name. And this is what I remember hearing, and maybe this isn't true because I don't see this online. It was saying that there was a guy in your high school that was like running around and it's just saying that word like as if it was just some random made up name. And I just remember being in my mom's truck being like, oh, that's interesting. But I've never seen that online when I looked at like, what is it, the origins? And I'm like, did I make that up? Is that something that like, is that even like anything? Were you guys like messing around and said that at some point? Do you have any memory of that being even remotely true?
That dude, okay. The first part of that question was, the irony is that we were trying to kind of run from the band name when we signed our record deal. We didn't sign as Hoobastank. It was a name we gave ourselves when we were 18 years old, and playing house parties. And at the time also, we had a couple sax players. It was very Mr. Bungle-esque.
Wow,
like
you guys had, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
We would go between like ska, punk, and metal all the time.
That's
like
cool.
Flip flop and funk and stuff like that. So the silly name fit perfectly with what we were doing and the venues we were playing and how old we were. Like it was just like a high school band. Fast forward to 2000, we take the band very seriously. The name has been around SoCal now for 5 years, and we get this record deal, and we don't even sign. Like our contract doesn't even say Hoobastank. It's just listed the individual members. And because we were going to change the name at that point, we're like, look, now's our opportunity. Like we're given a chance now to go nationally, and this could be this is our chance. Like if we were ever going to ditch it and try to do something more serious, because we take the music serious, not each other, now would be the time. And we played a show out in Hollywood, one of the first shows that our A&R guy actually came to see. And before the show or during the show or whatever, it was a really good show, but the audience was chanting "Hoobastank," before the set and stuff like that. And I remember after the show, he said, "Dude, you can't change the name. Like it has to be that. That's what it is, And it wasn't even like we're like, okay, cool. I think we still pushed back a little bit. Like, fuck, dude, we don't.
He was right.
It was probably me. It was probably me of the most. I wanted to get rid of it. That we kept it. We changed the spelling a little bit to make it a little bit more phonetically spelled, and went from there. So it was actually the opposite. The label wanted the name. They liked the name. But as far as the origins of the name, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot early on because that was the single most asked question, like for a decade. Like, what does the name mean? What does the name mean? And early on, we'd be like, we would just basically make up shit, like from interview to interview. Like if we gave 5 interviews,
there's your answer.
If we had 10 interviews, you'd get 10 different answers, and then you go online and there'll be 10 different versions of what the fucking name was.
I think that must have been.
There was so much question, and that you guys really fucked with people when you did that because there was.
Well, that's that contrarian thing. Like, fuck, dude, who cares? Like, so we're just gonna fuck around. We didn't take ourselves seriously, but it kind of backfired. Instead of putting it to bed, we'd have to interview these people on the next album, and they go like, you told us that it was this, and we heard it was that, and now what does it really mean? So here we are answering the question again and again and again because we'd still dick around and go, okay, you know what it really means, and we give them another bullshit answer, And
that's kind of fun though.
The funniest thing was the confidence.
And so here
confidence in each one of them thinking that they had the real story. No, it's this, and we're like, fuck you, it's none of them.
That's amazing. I know the most widely accepted thing is it's a sneakerhead. I know it's like the widely accepted answer. If you were to look it up, it's like, oh, it's a sneakerhead. A Hoobastank is someone who collects a lot of sneakers. Like I'm a Hoobastank, and I'm like,
you know what? I'm thinking that might have been one of the answers we actually gave him because I have a shit ton of fucking sneakers. Maybe. And we've collected quite a few shoes over the years. So maybe I could imagine. I feel like I can almost hear. Hoobastank. I can almost hear the interview going, well, maybe that's what it is. We'll just make it that from here, But it's not it.
But the name now, it's like such a, and there's so many examples of this of bands. There's the band names are widely accepted, and then you just kind of think, well, that if you really think about like Tool, we're all just like Tool, I remember I was wearing a Tool shirt I was just like on a cruise or something, and this older gentleman comes in and goes, fucking Tool, this guy, at least he recognizes what he is. Like he just like is on there giving me shit. And you think like, man, what a crazy band name that is if you think about it. But we all just
what
what did I do to you, man?
Well, he was like kind of like, giving me a little bit of guff, and kind of busting my balls a little bit. But he was I just thought these band names, but like when I think of Hoobastank, I'm like, it's the perfect name. I don't know what the fuck it means, but it's a great band and it's memorable. It's if you question something in your mind, you don't forget it. So in some ways it was genius.
Right. Look, in hindsight, I go back and go, okay, I think it's good we did it. It's kind of been woven into the pop culture fabric, Granted, 99% it's a punchline, but that's fine.
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, that's nice
Yeah.
of you to say, and that's fine. But that's another thing that's come with age, like and a sense of like, fuck it, I don't care, like I don't care. I every jab or diss or fucking anything that everybody's ever made of the band, whether it's our music, our appearance at the time, whatever album it was, the band name, whatever. Honestly, at this point in my life, I can sit back and go, yeah, I get it. I fucking laugh, dude. I understand. I see what you're joking about. Yes, I totally understand.
But from that era,
and it doesn't, and I don't take it personally. I go, okay, but here we are 20 some odd years later, and I'm still doing it for fun.
I could name 50 to 75 probably bands that would be punchlines from that period of time when you guys first came out. And I've never I mean, of course, there's going to be people that make fun of any band. There's people that make fun of me, Anthony, Derek, like that's just how it is. But, for you guys, I mean, sincerely, like I could name, I mean, like there are bands like, let's say Nickelback, where half the people love them, half the people hate them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, it's like there are those bands that are controversial, but I mean, you guys, I think like this album, I just look back at it and it stands the test of time. And it's not, you guys never came across as like jokers to me. Like I look at, there's bands from that time where you can be like, okay, this is like 85% fucking around,
There's a certain attitude that really embodies a certain age and a certain mindset of like, that band sucks because of XYZ, maybe just because you don't like the way they look or whatever, but I really feel like, I mean, I know I went through it, so I'm assuming it's like a rite of passage in life. And hopefully if you're wise enough, you go through it and you don't get stuck in it. Where you can look back and go, God, dude, I was talking shit about this band and this band and this band, and they were talking about shit about us. And I'm going to go, none of it matters. None of it matters now. I'm stoked for Nickelback,
right.
Or I mean, I understand all the flack these bands get, but fuck, man, I'd trade a pinky if to have the commercial success Nickelback had. It's a silly mindset. It's a young, kind of dumb mindset.
Yes.
Like, and I'm the one. I was absolutely guilty of it. Of like, this band sucks, and you can't. This why
I've been that way too.
Like it or whatever. So, I kind of feel like with how music of all time periods and genres and generations is so accessible. I mean, I've got a 12-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son, and you can listen to shit from the 80s and shit that's coming right now all in the same playlist. It's so easily to mash everything together that those lines of like, oh, you're not allowed to like this and you can't like this and like that are getting washed away a little bit. So I think that the kids nowadays have a much more, I think,
diverse taste,
purer, purer, and also a better, a more honest outlook on these bands. It's not like this band sucks and that band sucks because they don't belong to this clique or blah blah blah. I've
thought about that a lot from the difference of like the bands of that era, because when I grew up and I listened to your band, I listened to bands like, just so many bands, Seven Dust, like there was a lot of new metal bands that I loved from that era as well. And I always recognized that there were so many people that were hateful towards these bands. And I always wondered, what was it that was different about then that's different about now, where people seem to be more accepting of different sounds? And the only conclusion I can arrive at is that there was such a limited funnel of people's exposure to music. They felt as if maybe artists were being forced on them a lot more than they were now, where it's like you turn on MTV at the time and you have to see 5 to 7 different bands that are going to be up on your screen, and that's all you get. And anybody else is basically you're on Napster or something and you're downloading malware to discover new bands on your computer. So it's interesting to think about that, because it does seem almost as if people were angry because maybe they were trying to be the contrarians or something. But it just, I do find it fascinating when, I never got that. I mean, I'll admit, I mean, I still am. I was a diehard Limp Bizkit fan when I was growing up, and everybody was always like, "Man, fuck Limp Bizkit." But like, I had the little red hat, and it barely fit my big head, and like.
Dan, what have we been listening to on the way to the airport?
Okay, so
lately?
we've been flying out. We're home Monday through about Thursday, and then Thursday to Sunday or Monday we fly out. And we're rolling together. We all meet up and we go together. And we've been listening to the new Limp Bizkit record, and we're talking about it.
Let's
like,
go.
Dude, yeah, we've been kind of laughing, not at the music, but laughing at the fact that, like, dude, we're in our 40s now, and we're cruising the airport all together, bumping Limp Bizkit, like how just
right. But the joke is, you know, at the time when everybody would talk shit about Limp Bizkit, you know, it was easy to, you know, it's low hanging fruit, easy target, you know. And now I'm going back and we're listening to some of these songs, old stuff and new stuff, and going, fuck, dude, that was really good. You know, that riff is ridiculous. It's so good. And that's pretty clever, like how he phrased that. And you know, you may not like his style or what he's saying, but shit, he was really good at it. You know, like, and then we kind of look at each other and go, dude, Limp Bizkit fucking rules.
We're
right
going
now.
to get our Limp Bizkit tattoos.
You know, like, yeah. So we could see it now, and without those stupid like tribal goggles on, you know, or the tribal, you know, headphones. You listen to everything at some point in your life. You know, this stuff is good. This stuff you're not supposed to like.
I think overexposure, any band that's overexposed gets too much of this, and like going back to Nickelback, I remember when that first song or whatever, maybe it wasn't their first song, but This Is How You Remind Me was on, and it was everywhere, dude. It started, and then it was a fucking forest fire. It was everywhere, any station you turned on, and that shit gets annoying. And as a listener, that gets annoying. It doesn't mean I don't like that song or I don't like Nickelback, but and we were that band too. I was in Hawaii at the time that The Reason was peaking with my girlfriend at the time. And dude, it was insane. I was in the car. Every time I turned on the radio in the car to go somewhere, it was on. Not just that station, it was on that station, that station. I heard it probably 20 times in 3 days. I was stoked because it was my band and a song that Doug and I wrote. But at the same time, we were now the band that was like overexposed, getting force-fed down people's throats. And it's this ballady love song. And now it's cool. And now it's not anymore. And now people are sick of it. And now the band is a bunch of douchebags and whatever, you know, then people start to turn on you. Say. People start to whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It was too much.
People start to turn on you, and I get it.
Well, so I agree with that sentiment entirely, that people just kind of, they get sick of things maybe being overexposed. But now when you look back on The Reason, you're just like, man, what a hit. You know, I mean, it's just it's a flawless song, and it's another flawless song in your discography. You guys are going out on tour right now, or about to go out on tour. It's the Tried and True Tour. Killer lineup. You've got Hoobastank, Lit, Alien Ant Farm, another band that I absolutely love, Alien Ant Farm. Their record anthology is just absolutely incredible. And where can people find this documentary? When does the 20th anniversary documentary come out, this series?
Well, the docu-series, I think the first episode is going to be posted on it's going to be uploaded and posted onto our YouTube channel, like on the Hoobastank YouTube channel. All of our socials, we will post links and clips of where to go watch the full thing, but it's going to live on our YouTube channel, which is just Hoobastank. So either Wednesday or Thursday. It's supposed to be Wednesday. So, and that's going to be this week, like in tomorrow.
Okay. So if you're watching this, then it's either coming out today or it's coming out tomorrow, but I have tagged in the description of this interview on YouTube. You can simply just go right over to their channel in one click and check this all out and see all of this footage of, you know, and the series opens with the GoPro shot in the toilet. So it's really cool.
Slow motion. So it's going to be, what we're doing is it's 7 episodes. I'd say that each episode is anywhere between 5 minutes and 7 minutes long. They're not terribly long. So the whole thing is like 35, 37 minutes. We will be releasing an episode a week. So unfortunately, if you watch one and you want to watch the second, you won't be able to. It's going to be, you know, spaced out by like 7 weeks probably.
That's smart.
So we're doing that, and then we are getting ready to go do some shows. We're going out on that tour with Lit and Alien Ant Farm and Chris Rowe, who is from dude, I just had the biggest brain fart. The Atari, sorry, yeah.
Atari,
sorry,
right? Yep.
And so We start that, Doug. Do you know when we start that? October.
It's like mid-October.
Yeah, I don't know the dates, but that's coming.
You
It's
can
all
check it out
coming
on your website.
Yeah, dude. But I don't know. Was that all? I can't remember if you asked anything else.
No. That's pretty much it. It's an hour now, so I don't want to hold you guys too long. I could sit here and talk to you guys for 3.5 hours about all of this stuff. But I want to say, and I don't just say this to everybody, you guys are really smart, really insightful guys, and I really appreciate that. You guys are obviously successful for a reason. You guys are smart as hell, and it was cool to talk to you guys. And thank you for being so open and fun. And I just encourage everybody to go check this documentary series out. Very few bands that have had the type of success that Hoobastank has had will show you this kind of side of the journey. And it's just a 100% authentic angle of the journey, filmed on VHS. So,
I mean, check out that fridge behind Dan. You don't get that shit. That's success right there.
Dude, that's stainless steel. Think
it's
about
$1 million fridge.
Yeah.
Damn.
What's in there? What's in the fridge? What do we have? Like
just money. That's where he keeps half his money. Just money. It's actually his money fridge.
If I open it all falls out.
It's only money. He's sitting on a stack of money.
Dinosaur eggs, rare collections, gold bars.
A lot of people don't know that. When you're as successful as we are, you have a kitchen for food and a kitchen.
That's
for
amazing.
Money.
I'm actually, dude.
That's how you keep your cash cold.
I'm at IKEA right now. I'm actually sitting at IKEA. I'm gonna get some meatballs in a minute.
Somebody's gonna walk by in the back, like,
Excuse me, you're a Best Buy, sir. Can I help you?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much, and everybody, again, you can check out the link to their channel in the description of this video, and check that out, and make sure you subscribe to their channel as well. You guys got a big old 1.3 million subscribers already, so that's freaking kick-ass. A lot of bands don't spend time building. Like you got a big YouTube channel. That's something nobody can really take away from you. So that's kick-ass. So
you know what? Not to get too sidetracked, I've got a bunch of like random, plaques, gold, platinum, whatever, awards and shit sprinkled around the room. My kids, they don't give two shits about it. And then one day, not that I do either. I just kind of go, dude, I might as well put them up. I have them, one day recently, within the last few years, a box shows at my house, and it's the YouTube million subscriber plaque.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, and my son's just like, oh my god, yeah, he thought it was dude, 100%. He finally looked at me like, what are you doing, Dad?
When you brought up your kids out real quick, I was gonna ask you, are your kids fans of your music? But it sounds like they probably don't really give a shit.
Oh no, dude, they hate it. What
do they like?
My son right now doesn't get it at all. They both at points in their lives have looked at me in complete sincerity and honesty and go, Dad, why do people like you? Like, just not trying to be dicks, even though they're being total dicks. Like, I don't get it, Dad. You suck. And why do people care about you? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know.
I don't know.
But you should be glad that they do because it puts food on the table. Right. Yeah.
That's funny.
Exactly. Well, guys, again, thank you so much. That's brilliant. It was such a fascinating discussion, and I already did. I love your band so much more talking to you guys. So again, thank you so much.